Hey, my name is Najabi, and do you feel depressed? Do you feel like everything in your life is crumbling and you don't have any sense of direction, yet you're still trying to hold yourself together one by one piece at a time, but nothing's working and you're just constantly failing? Yeah, me too. But you know what would really fix it? A model kit. These beautiful, delicate, yet frustrating pieces of plastic that would take a good chunk of your life in order to build actually sort of solves depression. I have contemplated about getting into this for a few years because I don't know whether or not me and my buttery ass fingers would be able to be up for the task. And I really gotta say, it's fun. Except for applying stickers, but we don't talk about that. But it's like farming, you know? You gotta get the right seed from the right people and follow strict instructions in order to grow the right thing, or else you will grow something completely different. But after a lot of time, blood, sweat, tears, and care, you come up with something beautiful, right? However, no one ever said there are downsides to this hobby. But it's a good thing that there are so many different models from so many different genres out there for you to indulge in. Man, I wonder what could be the only downside for building a model kit. Oh, right. I have no money! You know, I would just go for a little rant about this, but there's no reason why this fucking thing should be 200 bucks. Sure, the articulation and detail is great and it's movie accurate, but you may have impressed the general public, but it's gonna take a lot more to impress me, pal. Oh. Jokes aside though, these toys are quite expensive and sometimes even more expensive to maintain after getting your hands on it. Although I own like 5 of these, with the big man being the most expensive thing I've gotten my hands on, even I can say that it's not really worth it. Because what do you mean? The average price for one of these is around 25 to 50 bucks. Except this guy, I got him for $5 and he has a special place in my heart. But think of all the happy children and man children who have never gotten into Warhammer 40k. This would benefit them a lot from just getting a hobby and staying away from the general public so not everyone can hear a actually, but most importantly, it would benefit me. I get it. The final product is cool, making the payoff so much better, right? And it's so much more worth it when you actually assemble the model kit together. Depending on the grade and complexity of the model kit, the more articulated and detailed it would be. And I'm guessing the brand name of Bandai Namco being slapped onto the damn thing makes the price so much more damn expensive. But there is no reason why a master grade ball has to be nearly 30 bucks. Can't you tell that I really want this model kit? But I guess just like the curse of Lego, high quality plastic with a high quality brand name slap onto it just gives, you know, the market free will to slap whatever prices they want on it because no one is good enough to compete with them. You often hear things like, isn't model kits for kids? Aren't you a bit too old for this? Or go get a real hobby, you know? Like being the drunk uncle. That doesn't sound as bad, honestly. But I am not at the legal drinking age here. At least here. So, in order to find a different coping mechanism to the atrocities of life and the hopes of getting a visa sponsorship, I divert to building plastic models instead of going to therapy, because who would want to spend 150 bucks an hour to talk with someone when you can build stuff? In all seriousness though, it's actually quite calming to build a model kit, just like how calming it is to be in this bathtub speaking to you all. It tickles your brain, you know, it does this little thing that eases your mind because now you're fully focused on just building and creating this little plastic life that is gonna come through your hand. Not only that, but it increases your brain power and also the ability to solve complex problems, as well as removing the clutter on your inside your brain, because you are no longer thinking about the stressfulness of life and how everything is kind of going to shit, and instead you are focusing on your brand new child. I am rehashing myself, that's okay. However, aside from just building a model kit and owning one and then showing it off, you also get a sense of community because there are creators creators as well as events that encourages one person to talk to another. Crazy, I know. People don't talk to each other anymore. Whether you are worried about whether or not you are spending your hard-earned money on the right model kit or not having any sense of direction on what to do in terms of building one, there are always people out there as creators or within the community to help you review and figure out how to build something or how to improve a model. And you know what? That's very helpful. Besides, when it comes to building model kits, you don't necessarily have to follow a certain rule because there are different complexity or grade depending on the model. As I have said before, the higher the grade, the more complex and articulated it would be. But you don't need to go to a perfect grade because you're just a wee little baby. Instead, you can always just go with a high grade, because that's a standard one and it's really fun to build. There are also a lot of different events and communities to inspire people and get into model kit building, which is very nice, you know, because it brings in a sense of community together for you to decompress after a long day of school, work, or fighting Godzilla for some reason. It's a nice universal experience, just like when a helicopter goes by and everyone will usually go, hell yeah. Man, this is a really fun hobby. I wonder why I haven't gotten into this in a while. Oh, yeah. Look, I'm circling back to my point earlier, alright? Sure, I can just continue coping, hoping, modding, seething, praying that within a few years, my international dumbass has a working visa or, you know, it's just work under the table. For legal reasons, please do not come to my door, the IRS. This is a joke. However, before we go into any drastic solutions, say the French Revolution, although with that current being of the world, a French Revolution does not sound that bad at all, does it? Let's show appreciation to the people and also event organizers who spend their hard-earned money on plastic models instead of a succulent Chinese meal in order to review and also compare these models for us young ones who don't want to waste our money as well as time on building something that is complete garbage that will just sit there on the shelves for weeks upon end, as well as setting up events like gunpla workshops so people can be brought together and brought out of their shell, not only as enjoyers of model kits but also different hobbies, because who knows, you might find your next best friend at a workshop or a sweatshop. These people are bringing us together one person at a time with our shared interests of snorting glue and huffing paint, you know? And personally, I think that it would be a teensy bit more beneficial if these things were, say, cheaper for all of us to own and build and being more accessible for the rest of us who are not millionaires, you know? But who knows? I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just some guy with an Eagle background for his laptop. And who knows, it might crash the economy or something. But it doesn't matter to me. I just want a model kit. Much more model kits in my collection. But hey, if worse comes to worse, a revolution does not sound bad at all. Maybe we could even use a second one. For obvious legal reasons, this is also a joke. Please do not come knocking on my door, Mr. FBI.